Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Welcome to today's edition of the Hillbilly Files. Now, today we're in an unusual place and we have something very special for you. We have a special guest as well and a very special location. Today we are at Devil Anse's home place, the one and only Devil Anse's home place, and I'm with a distant relative of mine. This is Jack Hatfield, and he is a direct descendant of Devil Anse Hatfield. We are about fifth, sixth cousins, something like that. He's a direct descendant of Devil Anse himself. He owns this property here where Devil Anse used to live, and he's setting up a museum here. And he has a lot of one-of-a-kind items, historical items, artifacts, I should say. And we're going to show you around a little bit, introduce you to Jack, and he's going to show you some stuff. And, we just go from there, show you around a little bit. You ready?
Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, as Leo mentioned, I am Devil Anse's great-grandson. Devil Anse had 13 children. His third son was Robert E. Lee Hatfield, namesake after General Lee, where Devil Anse served under him in the Confederacy. He was known to be the family spy during the feud. He was kept out of a lot of photos, so there's not a lot of documentation about Robert E. Lee Hatfield for that reason. They didn't want his face plastered all over the media, so
Right.
he was able to go back and forth to, find out all the dirt that needed to be known to keep the family safe. So yes, this is Devil Anse's last home place, and across the street was also the feud hideout.
Yeah, it's right over there.
Yeah. So about halfway up the mountain there, you can see a ledge. At that ledge is where a lot of the sharpshooters would hide out and watch over the home place as well as the hideout back then. Eventually, the Vicey got tired of raising her children in a hideout, so she had Devil Anse build her the home over here on this side of the creek. And Devil Anse even mentioned to the McCoys that he was going to go so far back in the mountains that they'd never find him. If they did find him, he would have a moat around his property and he'd shoot him before they got across. So he was not lying.
He actually built a moat.
There's literally, I am on like a little island, and you have to cross the bridge to get to the property. The bridge is still the original historic bridge that Devil Anse built in the late 1800s to access the property. The hideout, of course, sat kind of right in between those two homes across the street there. And then later on they built the home on this side of the property. The original home, unfortunately, is not standing today because it was burned in the 30s by his youngest son, Tennis, who inherited the property. And he wanted to claim insurance money on it, so he burned it, got an insurance payout of $10,000, which is equivalent to about $300,000 today. And then he ended up going to jail for insurance fraud. And all the land and everything was confiscated to pay off the back taxes. And that's how all the land got out of the family's hands, unfortunately. So my Aunt Judy just bought the property back for the family about 7 years ago. And since then, we've been trying to preserve the property as well as the history in the family. And we have had this goal of opening our museum for the family to help preserve everything. So we've done that. And as you can see right now, unfortunately, the property is a mess because we are in the process of constructing a much larger museum space, which of course will host the museum, the gift shop. We have the food truck, we'll have a picnic shelter, and then of course panning for gold for the kiddos, and just different activities along with the museum and gift shop. So you guys are definitely going to have to come and check it out once we get everything built, for sure.
Definitely. We'll put a link in the description down below for all of you, historical fans out there. Would like to maybe chip in a little bit, help this man do something worthy,
Yeah, we definitely need
worthwhile. that would definitely help them. You know, a little bit of support. What was the name of the?
Hatfield's and McCoy's Foundation. Our website is hatfieldmccoyfoundation.org. We're actually even starting a membership program, so you can not only donate on there, but you can also become a member of the foundation, which allows you to have free museum entry all year long and 10% off the gift shop, and of course be in the know on all the new Hatfield McCoy things coming up. We have lots of plans, even going past this museum. So we need definitely as much help and support as we can get. And if you can't afford to donate money, you can also donate time. We can also use the volunteers. So don't hold back.
Or just subscribers, YouTube channels, Facebook pages, that sort of thing. All of it counts. Every little thing counts. It all helps. It all helps.
It all adds up.
But we've got, like I said, Jack has some very unique, one-of-a-kind items here. This stop here, like I said, today's little escapade into history isn't just a historical site. It's also historical figures, historical descendants, and a whole bunch of historical artifacts, some one-of-a-kind stuff. Yep. A lot of this has never been documented on YouTube before, so this will be a first.
Not to mention, too, with this great expansion, we have a lot of other artifacts that you're not going to see in this video because we don't have the space to put them out in our startup space here. So what we did is took the existing home here on the property, the home place, and turned a portion of it into the current museum and gift shop. So this is where we got started. So I'm excited to see our new building coming up. So, but come on in. We'll show you around. So, of course, when you enter into the gift shop, and we have the museum in the back. All of the items in the gift shop are directly from the family, with the family's copyrighted logos and emblems. So, if you're looking for any Hatfield McCoy memorabilia, you can visit our website as well as come visit us here at the home place, which we'd love more than the website. But yeah, we have authentic artifacts of coal strip.
Yes, I was looking at that.
Coal jewelry, and then of course all of our Hatfield McCoy branded items. Even my book that I published here, which is a very popular cookbook of the family.
Get that in there. Eating with the Hatfields.
Yep.
It really is, too.
Yeah. Hats, t-shirts, stickers, coffee mugs, koozies, you name it, we got it. But come on in to the museum here. So this is one of my favorite artifacts. This is Devil Anse's favorite horse, Fred. This was his favorite stallion, Fred. And that is the horseshoe that was found here on the property that belonged to Fred back in the day. And interesting fact on that photo right there in the background is the hideout that was across the street. A lot of people don't know that. The hideout was later bought by a lady named Billy Brown, who also bought the home place here, and she built the home place that we're in today. And then the hideout across the street, she took that and turned that into a brothel and a hotel and a bar.
Really?
Yeah, she was a very entrepreneurial businesswoman. And from what I hear, nobody messed with Billy Brown, let me tell you. So it's funny how the family property went from legacy to legacy, you know, to another lady who didn't take crap from anybody, I guess we'll say.
It's something in the family. It's in the genes.
It is. That it is. So, of course, right here is a feud timeline of the feud to try and help people make sense of the facts of the feud. And to answer your first question, no, it was not over a pig.
No.
It started over the Civil War and the death of Randall McCoy's brother by the Logan Wildcats, which was a group started by Devil Anse to protect the community in this area. So you've got to remember with the Civil War going on, West Virginia just seceded from Virginia and became its own state. So there was not much law and order going on in that time frame. So Devil Anse kind of became law and order in southern Appalachia. And when he abandoned the war, he came home and found that his community was burning because you had Union soldiers coming in and all the Confederate soldiers. If you were a man in the area who had a gun, you were in the Confederacy out fighting. So the Union soldiers were coming in behind them, burning down the homes, crops, molesting families. It was not a good situation at all. So Devil Anse found that was happening and abandoned the Civil War to come home and protect his community. So he started the group called the Logan Wildcats, who ended up being the local militia group protecting the communities. They ended up shooting and killing Asa Harmon McCoy, Randall McCoy's brother, who was a Union soldier. Randall McCoy was a Confederate soldier. He was serving under Devil Anse in the Confederacy.
Right.
And then his brother Asa was a Union soldier. Asa was in Union uniform, stumbling through the woods, and they did not ask questions. They just shot. And that ended up killing Asa Harmon McCoy, Randall McCoy's brother, which is where the grudge started. And then from there, of course, you did have a dispute about a hog and her babies, which was very valuable back then. You know, that fueled your lamps,
that
put
was one of
food
our
on your
videos.
table for the family for the whole winter.
Exactly.
It was very valuable. And then, of course, you had the land dispute over 5,000 acres. And then you had the love story with John C. and Roseanne. And then you had a lot of murders after that. And then the Supreme Court case, which created extradition in our country.
West Virginia and Kentucky almost going to war.
Yep, you had the governors involved. Governor of Kentucky was trying to invade and take West Virginia. He was using the feud as a catalyst to invade West Virginia, and then that's how it became very politicized. And then you had the Civil War. The Supreme Court case, which ruled in favor of Kentucky for extradition. So there was no extradition back then. And you had the governor of Kentucky putting arrest warrants on the heads of the Hatfields trying to invade West Virginia and take West Virginia. So it ended up going all the way to the Supreme Court, which created extradition in our country. The court case was Mahon v. Justice. Mahon was an employee of the Hatfields who was also captured, a friend and employee, along with a few of the other Hatfields. And then when the Supreme Court case created extradition between the states and our country because of the feud, that's when they went ahead and hung Cotton Top, Ellison Mounts, which was Devil Anse's nephew, for the murder of Alifair McCoy with the cabin invasion.
Right.
So that's how we actually even have extradition in our country.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize the extent that the Hatfield-McCoy feud reaches even today in our legal system.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I agree.
A lot of people think it was over a pig. It's just furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah, no doubt.
We've got remnants of the home place here from when the house burned down. We had the Diggers TV show came and did a dig here on the property along with two other well-known local diggers, and they found a lot of artifacts from the feud here on the property. So you've got locks and keys, salt and pepper shaker, foot from a coal stove, and these are all actual artifacts from the home place at the time. And of course, a lot of memorabilia. There's lots of books and movies and everything else that's been done through the years. And then this photo here on top, hopefully you can get a good photo without the reflection on it, but that is what the home place looked like before it burned down in the 30s. So as you can see, that's the original bridge that you still came across. We still have the retaining rock wall around the property out there. The house was quite large. It had 3 sections. So we're hoping one day to be able to rebuild all that. That's another fundraiser we'll be working on as well. This right here is my baby. This was the gun of my great-grandfather Devil Anse. This one he sawed off, and if you look at the handle here, we've got some wear on it. We believe that is actually from where he carried this one on Fred, his favorite horse. So he sawed the barrel off. Here's what it looked like when he took a photo of it before he sawed off the tip of the barrel.
There you go. Same gun.
Yep, but we believe he sawed it off to carry it on Fred and to conceal it because it has,
makes sense.
The handle that way.
Makes sense.
So my Aunt Judy, of course, it was passed to her when she was 4 years old from her grandfather Craig, which was one of the sons from Robert E. Lee. So Robert E. Lee had 2 sons, John and Craig. John is my grandfather and Craig was hers. So she had this hidden in her attic for years and nobody knew.
Wow.
Yep, nobody knew.
Wow. That is insanely cool.
Yeah, that's one of my babies. This is a photo of the Logan Wildcats, of course, which is the group Devil Anse started that ended up shooting and killing Asa Harmon McCoy. Of course, you can see during the feud how close together everyone lived. You know, everyone was within probably 5 to 10 miles of each other on horseback. And then you've got an oil lamp here or pieces of an oil lamp, and then a replica of it from the home, from the feud. One-of-a-kind books and items, you know, that have been paid tribute to the family down through the years. And then, of course, right here is my other babies. This is a Henry 44 Big Boy. The Henry 44 is made in memory of the peace treaty. So on this side tells the Hatfield side of the story, and on the other side tells the McCoy side of the story. The peace treaty was done by Ron McCoy and Rio Hatfield, who are also on our foundation board, in 2003. And this gun was made in honor of that event. Now, the 1851 Navy steel was made in honor of John C. and Roseanne, the love story and the pawpaw tree shooting incident. You may not be able to see it well in the video, but on the barrel, etched in the barrel, or on the chamber, excuse me, is the shooting of the pawpaw tree incident. So it's a beautiful, beautiful gun.
Yes, it is. It most certainly is.
Yeah, and we have more weapons coming actually from the family, so I'm excited about that.
That is beautiful.
Of course, on the other side, we have bullets from the feud.
Yeah.
This was Dr. Henry Drury Hatfield, who was Senator and Governor of West Virginia. He was Devil Anse's favorite nephew. He was the family doctor during the time. So this is his lapel pin and a penicillin bottle where he treated gunshot wounds here on the property. Devil Anse's axe head, an oxen shoe. Of course, you can see they're charred from the fire.
Yeah.
From the home fire. That's a photo of the funeral.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And then a comic book from the 40s.
Really?
Yeah. And this is Devil Anse's mother, Nancy Vance, Jim Vance's sister, and she's holding Elias, one of his two sons who was killed in a moonshine shootout, unfortunately, with the Italians in Boomer, West Virginia.
Yeah.
Replica of his favorite hat he always wore. Was donated by a hat maker in Milan, Italy, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
This is a never before seen photo of Cap Hatfield and friends. So, of course, this is Cap here in the center holding his rifle. This is my favorite piece in the museum right now. This is Devil Anse's Civil War sash buckle.
Yeah.
From his Civil War uniform, excuse me. And you can see him standing beside it. This is a photo of a veteran meeting in Huntington later on. This one was done in 1913. So it was a 2-day event that was held in Huntington. Fun fact, actually Devil Anse this is a little known story about Devil Anse, but he actually went bear hunting quite often. He killed a black bear, not realizing she had 3 cubs. So he ended up bringing the cubs home with him, and they became his pets. So he kept black bears here on the property. So a funny story is how he would love to sit on the back porch when visitors would come, and he would send them out to the barn over here to get a tool or something, and they'd come nose to nose with the black bear, and he'd sit on the porch laughing and watching them pee their pants as they ran back to the house, you know. But this is photos of him with the bears. Yeah. We've got more great photos of him with the bears that we'll put out in the new displays when we expand the museum here in a few months. So this talks about, of course, the hanging of Cotton Top.
Yeah.
Ellison Mounts. He actually was not all there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Apparently, he didn't even do it either.
Yeah, that's the theory, is that he, confessed to try to make the family proud, that he had killed a McCoy, and unfortunately, that was his demise. Right.
Well, Randall testified. We've got the testimony where Randall testified in court that Cap did it. He testified. I would believe. And I mean, honestly, if you were... Somebody did something to your family, killed your kid. You know what I'm saying? You would want the person who did it not his cousin who you have a grudge against. You
No
would
doubt.
want the guy who actually did it.
No doubt.
So I believe Randall on that one.
Of course, there's a lot of things I'm not touching on here in the museum,
Yeah,
but just
yeah.
kind of giving you highlights. These were my favorites. These I call the devil's keepsakes. These were coins that were found here on the property. You have a
Oh, really? Those were found here?
1865 seated Liberty dime,
Yeah.
a 1901 Indian weed head penny, and then a New Zealand nickel from 1901.
Really?
Yeah, they were found along with a button over here I'll show you in a moment, and the sash buckle from his Civil War uniform. The theory is that he had a keepsake box, a wooden keepsake box in his closet. And when the home burned, of course, the box burned, but all the things he had in the box were
Right.
together. So these were all found right together, right where the closet would have been in the house. So that's our theory on these. This is a McCoy Bible from the 40s. This is the last known photo of Randall McCoy and Sarah on the top. You can see them on the bottom right. He's kneeling, and Sarah is has a bonnet on her head. We know this is one of the last photos, and it was after the cabin fire because Jim Vance butted her in the head with the end of his gun and left a head wound,
Right.
which unfortunately she ended up suffering quite greatly from that. But that's one of the last known photos. And of course, in the center, it talks about our peace treaty that we did back then. It was nationally broadcasted all over the world. This is the other side of those guns, the McCoy side, and the Pawpaw tree shooting incident gun. This is
Asa.
Oh yeah, Asa,
Randall.
yeah, who started it, yep. And then this is the hog trial cabin.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is. I can see it now.
Scene, yeah. They got Kentucky and West Virginia flags up a little further. Randall McCoy's cabin here on the back. This is a declaration of unity that we did in 2018 between the new generations, myself and Ron McCoy's son. So that's the new one we've done, the newest one.
Peace treaty.
Well, the peace treaty is over here. That's the declaration's what we call that, to renew the peace treaty. But the actual peace treaty's up here.
Check that
on
out.
the top.
Look at this, guys.
So that one was done in 2003. Unfortunately, I wasn't passionate about the family when I was that young.
I think I remember this. I
Yeah,
remember
it was on Good Morning America. It was signed during an episode of Good Morning America.
Yeah.
And it was on Time Magazine and New York Times. It went everywhere. Right here is my great grandmother Levice's rouge case.
Really?
Yeah, and then that's a replica I bought to see what it looked like. But the original there is on the left. I was too afraid to open it. It's so fragile from the home fire.
Yeah.
Down here, of course, are pennies that were in their pockets at the time. Those are 1890s and early 1900s pennies.
They're actual money.
Yep.
Hey, Devil Lynch, can I borrow a buck?
Back then, he definitely had it. He was very wealthy.
He was very wealthy.
Very wealthy. He made his fortune in logging.
Yeah.
And then later on, selling the land to the coal companies and the railways, which is what this display is about. He consulted the railways because he was so knowledgeable in the local landscape on the best ways to get the trains full of coal in and out with the least resistance. And this was, they had given him, for consulting, they had given him a pair of those Oshkosh Bagosh black and white overalls.
Right.
And that button was on those overalls, and that was what was also found in that keepsake box on the property.
Well, that was actually stuff that was important to him.
Yeah, yep.
You know?
That's why I called it the
items that were
Devil's Keepsakes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, of course, kind of go into, we're also going to start working on, well, we've already started, but preserving Appalachian culture and history as well as the Hatfield McCoy. So this is our start into that. Again, I have so much more artifacts for our new space. But these are date nails that were used, that the railway would use. They would put those on different railroad ties trying to learn the best way to preserve them. So like the ZM would be for like zinc and mercury. And then the number was, the 1900s. So ZM in 1907, those two nails would go on one railroad tie. And that way they knew, 30 years when they pulled that
how
tie
that one
up.
was treated and when it was done.
Yep,
Makes
and what
sense.
was the best way to preserve them. So that's how they did their research and development back in the day. And then, of course, below that, you have coal script. That's a set of coal script from a coal mining store my grandmother worked at, actually.
Really? They look new, don't they?
In
They
Wyoming
look
County.
really clean.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time cleaning a lot of the coal script up. Those are things that are close to my heart, so I spend time doing that.
Yeah.
Back then, boy, it was rough. You worked for the coal company. You lived in their house. Your kids went to their school. You shopped at their store. The prices they set with the coin they paid you with.
Exactly.
You were owned.
Exactly. You were owned. It was
literally a new
serfdom
form of slavery, unfortunately, which is why, of course, we ended up having all the coal mine wars here locally.
Exactly.
On the top, you've got my grandfather's coal mining hat that he
really?
used for about 40 years. Of course, in the center there, you have Sid Hatfield and Ed Chambers from the Matewan Massacre, the coal mining wars starting over there in Matewan. So Sid Hatfield was the sheriff who shot and killed two of the Pinkerton investigators who were the coal mine's muscle, keeping the town in line. And they ended up assassinating both of them in Welch at on the courthouse steps a year later, going to testify.
Albert Phelps, boo.
Yeah, right. And you have some. Now these coal tags and coal script, all those things were found here on the property from property owners who owned the property after the family did. And then you have a gas testing lantern, and then photos inside coal mines and whatnot on the bottom. But again, there's a whole lot more history that we'll be displaying in the new museum build. Up here, this photo on the top, the gentleman in the hat in the middle, that is Robert E. Lee Hatfield, Devil Anse's third son, who's my great grandfather. So, but that's kind of the quick museum roundabout tour with what we've got on display today. But again, in a few months, we'll have a space that's much larger with a whole lot more artifacts and memorabilia for sure. I even have a local moonshining legend whose family donated his steel, so I'm going to have that in there working too. So I'm excited to even do a tribute to him. So there's a lot that we have coming, a lot more Hatfield McCoy stuff, as well as Appalachian culture and history that'll be in the museum as well. So you guys have to come check it out.
Definitely will. Amazing stuff. You've got all kinds of really cool stuff here. I love it. It's small, but it was made with love, and it's as historically accurate as we could get it. So we're very big on the historical accuracy of the feud. But definitely check out our website, and for any information that you need. We also have the timeline of feud on the website, so if you have questions or anything about the history, you can check that out as well. Contact us on there. Shop on our little store, and come visit us. Yeah, more than welcome. Love to have you. All right, I'm gonna go out and check out outside a little bit. I'm gonna show you the moat, show you the Devil Anse's moat. But Jack Hatfield, guys, what do you think? Very impressive, isn't it? Very impressive. Thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy. No problem.
Very much appreciate you.
Appreciate you coming by.
Good to see you again.
As well.
I'm gonna go out and check around, show them the moat and all this good stuff.
I'll check in with you and see if you have any questions in a moment.
All right. Sounds good. Now this is actually the home place itself. I wanted to show you this. Now the cemetery where Devil Anse is buried is right there. It's right on the other side of that little hill right there. That's where Devil Anse is. Now I've taken you guys up there, showed you that before, but I wanted to show you this. Check this out. You know how everybody wants a moat around their house. He actually built one. Devil Anse actually built one. Check out this little piece of property too. I mean, that's pretty nice. Just a beautiful little piece of land out in the middle of nowhere. And imagine too, back in the day, you know, this was super quiet place. No one ever bothered you. You probably didn't have any guests at all. Pretty little place, isn't it? Big pine trees. Jack's a good dude, ain't he? He tells a good story too, don't he? Maybe he should start doing YouTube. But over there's where the right there's where the new museum is going to go. They've been working on that, getting that ready. But we've got a lot of plans. We're going to do some cleanup on the graveyard soon before the vegetation starts to grow again in the spring. And Jack and I, we were talking about that a little bit earlier before we started doing the video, and he's wanting to help us. So that sounds great. Got some help. You know, thank you very much. Thank you guys. I do want to mention that too. We've got some new supporters, and just wanted to say thank you guys. We appreciate you, and we couldn't do any of this stuff without you guys. That's obvious. But anyhow, I just thought I'd bring you out here and show you all this stuff and let you meet Jack and maybe help the museum out a little bit too. You know, it's a good cause. It's a worthy cause. Pretty much everything in there is one-of-a-kind items. They can't be replaced. They're irreplaceable. It's kind of the whole point. But anyhow, we sure appreciate you guys coming along, taking a look, and thank you guys for watching. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you next time on the Hillbilly Files. Couple real quick things I just now found out that I did want to mention. You see the two light fixtures right there on either side of the bridge, the little light poles? I just found this out. I didn't know this. Jack just told me. Those little light poles, right? Let me get a little bit closer. You can see them. Right, there's one, and right there's one. He just told me about this. Devil Anse himself put those in. He installed those. Devil Anse himself installed those light fixtures. They were gas lights back in the day. Check this out. He was just showing me this stuff a second ago. He said, we almost forgot it. Well, we'll fire the video back up. We want to get this. Right here. That down in there is Devil Anse's well. That's where he got his water and made his moonshine, from that well. That's Devil Anse's well right there. And look at this. The other gas lights. I showed you the two at the bridge. There's another one. There's two more. There's one laying right there. Jack had to move it where he's putting a new building here. But you can see the old gas light. This is Devil Anse's. He bought these and installed these himself. That's one. And this last one over here is the one I wanted to really show you. This one has bullet holes. Devil Anse shot this thing himself. Those are bullet holes that Devil Anse put in this pole. He shot this thing. I don't know why. Don't ask me. But he did. You can see the little dents in the back where the bullets came through, where he was shooting at it. Now, how cool is that? The Devil Anse's light poles. Complete with bullet holes. Of course, you know, Devil Anse's anything is probably going to have bullet holes. But I thought that was cool. I figured that was worth firing the camera back up to show you that real quick. Alright, anyway.